Hi, this is Carl, and what I want to discuss in this video is what grammarians and linguists might refer to as possessive adjectives. In a previous video I spoke about possessive pronouns in Spanish, and this video will be about possessive adjectives in Spanish. I also mentioned in that other video that as a private language tutor I didn't really like using what many language learners would view as complicated terms such as possessive pronouns or possessive adjectives. But if you do refer to that video about possessive pronouns, then it'll be immediately clear as to what those are. On the topic of possessive adjectives, once again, while the term may seem rather complicated, it may seem gobbledygook, it can easily be explained. Adjectives, of course, are describing words such as green, white, yellow, dark, light, dull, bright, and so forth. And possessive just refers to what noun or any other object belongs to a particular individual or inanimate object. Examples in English are mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, and theirs. Compare those with the possessive pronouns. So what I'm going to do now is to give you a possessive pronoun and its corresponding possessive adjective. My, mine, your, yours, his, his. By coincidence, those two words are identical. They're written and pronounced in the same way. Her, hers. Its, its. Again, identical. Our, ours. Their, theirs. There is one essential difference between the possessive pronouns and the possessive adjectives. The possessive pronouns will come immediately before the nouns, which are the possessions of the people or individuals or objects which own them. For example, my is a possessive pronoun because we need to say my book or my house, whereas mine, the corresponding possessive adjective, can appear at the end of the sentence without anything having to come after it. The house is mine. But we can't say the house is my. We have to say my something or other. This is my house, for example. Using a similar example, we can look at the difference between your and yours. Your, the possessive pronoun, comes before a noun. Your house. The possessive adjective which corresponds to your, yours, must come at the end of a sentence, or usually it can appear before a conjunction. For example, this is yours and that is his. Now you can actually look at some of the comparisons between what I'm going to discuss in this video and also what I've discussed in the video about possessive pronouns, and that will perhaps help you to understand a lot better the similarities between those two aspects of Spanish language grammar. If we take the possessive adjectives in Spanish in their shortest forms, we find that they all end in O. So mine is mío, yours is tuyo, his, hers, its, yours on a formal relationship level, theirs is suyo, and ours and yours, referring to you guys, two or more people with whom you have a friendly relationship, nuestro and vuestro, identical in both cases to the corresponding possessive pronouns. They all end in O. So therefore, and a little bit unfortunate when you consider just how many different forms of the words you may have to learn, they adopt a corresponding feminine form which sees the final O of each of those words switch to A. They all have a masculine plural form which ends in OS, and they all have a feminine plural form which sees the O in the base word switch to an A plus the addition of S. For example, mine can translate as mio, mia, mios, and mias. And just an interesting point before I move on, you can easily switch from the possessive pronoun to the corresponding possessive adjective by applying the sound yo to the possessive pronoun. For example, me means mine. To get from my to mine, you go mi, yo, which is actually spelled M-I-O. The I adopting the same sound as the Y, the sound E, the phoneme E. Your is tu, and to get from your to yours, add the yo sound. Tu becomes tuyo, spelled T-U-Y-O. That also applies to su, which becomes suyo. However, with nuestro and vuestro, which are identical to the possessive pronouns, you could, if you want, add the sound yo, but the sounds of the words are a little bit clumsy. Nuestro yo and vuestro yo, they sound as though they're incorrect, as in fact they are, so we can't really apply that rule to nuestro and vuestro. Now, as with possessive pronouns, the possessive adjectives will alter in accordance to the nouns to which they refer. It won't be about whether the speaker is masculine singular or whether the speakers are feminine and plural. It will be dependent on the noun to which they refer. So if, for example, you want to say the house is mine, if I wanted to say the house is mine, then the the possessive adjective wouldn't revolve around the fact that I'm masculine singular. It would revolve around the fact that the house in Spanish is feminine singular. It would be la casa, la ends in A, casa ends in A, es mía, which also ends in A. If I wanted to say the houses are mine, once again it doesn't refer to the fact, or is dependent on the fact that I'm masculine singular. It refers to the fact that the houses are feminine plural, which is the complete opposite, of course, of masculine singular, feminine plural. Las casas son mías. So that's how possessive adjectives work, and we can actually see how they must be referred to as adjectives because they could be replaced with words such as caras, expensive, or baratas, cheap, baratos, the masculine plural form. For example, the houses are mine, las casas son mías. Exchange mías for baratas, there you have the adjective cheap, and then you can say las casas son baratas. So hopefully that helps to explain what possessive adjectives are and how they must be used correctly in Spanish.